Today, we're diving into a topic that's close to our hearts and vital for many: the eligibility and qualification for surviving spouses to use a VA home loan. We know the journey you've been on hasn't been easy, and we're here to provide the support and information you need to navigate this important benefit. From understanding the criteria for eligibility to steps involved in obtaining a certificate of eligibility, whether you're dealing with the loss of a veteran who died on active duty or from a service-connected disability, or navigating the complexities if your loved one passed away from non-service connected causes, we got you covered today. So there's really two main parts to using the VA home loan. It's eligibility and qualification. Eligibility is the ability to use the VA home loan, and then that you meet all the criteria so you can actually use it. Qualification is, do you still meet the income credit requirements and assets in order to actually obtain and use the VA home loan. So there's two parts to that. So the first part we're going to cover is the criteria for eligibility to use the VA home loan by a surviving spouse. Now this is broken up really into three different parts. So the first one is if a veteran passes away while on active duty, and this could be from any cause as long as they are on active duty. And the other one is if they pass away from a service-connected disability. So that's one set, right? Now, separate from that, the spouse will have to also be unmarried or remarried on or after the age of 57 and on or after December 16th, 2003. So there's definitely some rules around this. If an active duty soldier is listed MIA or POW for at least 90 days, then the VA will limit the VA home loan to a one-time use to the spouse, okay? Now, separate from that, if a veteran dies from non-service connected causes, they can still be eligible for the VA home loan. Now, keep in mind that never self-disqualify yourself. Reach out to the VA. I'm going to drop their information down below and also link to all the things that we're talking about today because the VA does have this information published, okay? Now, veteran, so this is for non-service connected causes. They pass away still using the VA home loan. So if a veteran was rated totally disabled for 10 years or more preceding the death, or was rated totally disabled for not less than 5 years from discharge or release from active duty to the date of death, or if a veteran was a former POW who died after September 30th, 1999, and was rated totally disabled for not less than 1 year preceding the death. Now, who determines this criteria? It's going to be the VA Compensation Department. And now, once they've completed their review of this and determined that the surviving spouse is eligible for qualifying dependency indemnity compensation, right, the DIC, then you're really moving forward, but that's really how it's going to work. Now, the VA does have a specific form that an unmarried surviving spouse needs to complete the first time that they do it. Now, you have two different options. You can either mail that or you can speak with a lender for them to submit it for you. And to be honest with you, a lot of times it is easier with a lender because they already have access to the VA's portal. And if you're a surviving spouse, sometimes they don't have it. So let me show you what that document actually looks like. I have an example of it right here. So you're going to see that the criteria is, it's going to say right in here, it's an unmarried surviving spouse. Again, I'm going to drop that link down below. This is going to be completed with your information, and then also you're going to have the veteran's information down over here, and you're going to sign off on it. If you have any prior loans, you're going to put that on here as well, sign off on it, and then either you're going to submit it or the lender will submit it on your behalf. But again, mentioned, it's a little bit easier with the lender being able to do it and upload it and follow up with the VA on your behalf. Now, technically, if there's no outstanding VA home loan on your certificate of eligibility, then you can use it as there's no limit on what you can purchase with it, right? There's no max price point as long as you're qualified to be able to do so with no money down. But that's kind of the big key. You still have to be qualified for that. Also, you don't pay the VA funding fee if they have a service-connected disability, which is also another big bonus to that. And I think one of the other big ones is eligibility for property tax breaks. Now, that will be based on the state and local laws that they have. Just double check that. I did a video not too long ago about how to search uh, VA disability property tax break benefits in multiple states, right? So VA has a website. They make it pretty easy, but you do have to do the research for the county that you live in, because a lot of times states will have a property tax break requirement, but then the local counties will have something that's contradicting that. So please double check that before you make these big decisions. And also, if you currently have a VA loan locked in with the benefits, you sell that property, you could still purchase another one and use the VA home loan. In fact, you could have multiple VA home loans. So, if you want to get more information on that, please schedule a call with us. But we also did a video on how to have 2 VA home loans at the same time. So check that out. And I'll also link it down below. If you are a surviving spouse, but also a military member, you're a military member yourself, a veteran, then you can all use your benefits, or you can use your spouse's benefits to purchase properties. So really, it just depends on what you're looking to do with these benefits, okay? Now, if you're on the mortgage, not just the title, right? An actual co-borrower on that VA home loan, just know that entitlement, a portion of it, is locked out for the purposes of using the VA home loan. Now, before you do anything, you need to make sure that you are eligible to use the VA home loan. Submit this document to 26-1817. That will basically clear things up for you because, again, there are times where people think that they are eligible, but they are not. There's no preset time limit. So if it's been 10 years since they passed away and now you're learning about this, you can go back and apply for these benefits and then be able to use it and utilize the VA home loan. There's a lot of benefits like lower rates, no down payment, no private mortgage insurance. You can refinance your current mortgage if it's not a VA loan into a VA home loan. So there's definitely some great requirements with it, and the product is great. We do a ton of videos around that, so make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button. Now let's talk about qualification, right? So now that you've determined that you are eligible to use the VA home loan, you've submitted your request, and now you have your certificate of eligibility. The cool part about, or the great part about VA home loans is they are definitely some of the loosest criteria and most flexibility in giving a loan to a veteran or surviving spouse, because their income is treated the same as far as flexibility goes, right? So you still have to meet the requirements for income. If you have a W-2 regular job, you can use all of that income that you have. It has to be full-time. Typically, they look for 2 years, but there's so much flexibility in that. Don't self-disqualify yourself. Now, if you're self-employed, then yes, they're going to look at the last 2 years. Same thing with part-time income. If you want to use that, they're going to look at the last 2 years. Now, if you're receiving the disability and indemnity compensation, the DIC, you can use that income to actually qualify to purchase a property. If you have your own pension, Social Security income, your own VA disability income, then you can use all of that income to qualify for purchasing a property. Now, the other part we're going to talk about is going to be the credit requirements. Technically, there is no minimum credit score per the VA, but lenders do require that you have something, or at least have like a minimum. Like, for example, a lot of banks will go down to 620. I know banks that will go down to 500. And if you have no credit score, like no score at all, that's also okay, because most lenders will assign a 680 credit score to you, so you'll still be able to qualify and at least get some decent rates within that. But having your credit looked at is important. If you don't have credit monitoring, you should, because then at least you'll be able to monitor how your credit is doing. There's also a lot of identity theft that you want to be able to you want to be on top of. Now let's talk about assets, right? Money is still needed for closing costs. Now, yes, you can get a seller credit to cover closing costs, but we really don't see that as much these days, okay? You still need to have at least 2 to 3%, sometimes 4%, depending on the state that you're in closing, in cash on, not like physical cash on hand, but like having in a checking savings account, money market account, or retirement account that you could pull money out of to then actually use. The VA doesn't require any reserves, meaning like in the event something were to happen, you want to have some extra money set aside to pay bills. VA doesn't have that requirement, but it is highly recommended that you do. Now, the flip side is if, let's say, you have older kids, but you don't have enough savings to purchase a property, you can get gift funds from them in order to purchase a property. In fact, you can get gift funds from pretty much anybody in order to use it towards closing costs, as long as you're not repaying that money back. Now, let's talk about what type of properties can you buy. So one of the big ones that we always come across when we're helping folks with surviving benefits is going to be single family homes. Those are pretty straightforward. You can also buy condos with the VA home loan, and you can literally buy any single condo, even if it's denied or it will be denied by the VA with what's called a condo waiver. You can buy in 55 plus communities as well. So the VA loan is pretty open. There's a lot of things that you can do with it. You can also do 100% construction loans, including land acquisition and building your dream home. You just can't be this GC on your own deal. You actually have to hire someone. You can purchase in a subdivision, like a planned unit development, or you still have small HOA dues, but it's not a condo. You can buy an income property. We see a lot of people do that as well, right? They buy a 4-unit, 2, 3, or 4-unit building where they rent out a portion of the building and live mortgage free. Another great option. You can also purchase a farm residence, and you can also purchase modular and manufactured homes with the VA home loan. Now, there's a couple different types of loans that you can use, and primarily you're going to have a purchase loan, so you can purchase a property. If you own a property, you can cash out, do a cash out refinance with the VA home loan. And if you have a current VA home loan, but you want to be able to refinance the loan and get a lower rate, it's called an interest rate reduction refinance loan. The spouse will still be able to refinance, and as long as they provide all the documentation, take the other person off and put themselves onto the mortgage. So that is very important to know. You can also do rehab loans with the VA home loan, and you can purchase new construction properties. Just like you can build a home, you can buy a home that's being built and paid by someone else. Now, I'm going to briefly touch on life estate planning with the VA home loan. We also have videos around that on the channel. So one is that all VA loans are assumable. So if you have kids, you have somebody that you want to assume your mortgage while you're alive, they can actually take over that mortgage. They don't have to be veterans. Again, I'll drop a link down below to the video so you guys could check that out. But they can actually assume it as an investment property. They would physically own it, and in the event something happens to you, it's already theirs. Now, the other option, which I think is a phenomenal option and everyone should be doing, is putting the VA home loan in a trust. Now, you can't buy at the time of closing. You can't put it in a trust. It has to be in your name. But you can still move the property into a trust and still get property tax breaks if you qualify for them. So it's another great option. And the reason I mention that, because typically what happens is lenders will foreclose on the property within 30 days if the veteran passes away, but the spouse is not on the mortgage, but just on the title. In a trust, they avoid that. And then it's also the only real way to pass the property with the loan that's on there, unless it's paid off, to your children to keep making payments on that loan. And they can just pay it down to zero. And then the VA basically releases the benefit, and then they can do whatever they want with the property. So definitely a lot of options that we went over today. If you guys have questions, you feel free to schedule a call with us in the description. It's towards the bottom. Happy to also do any presentations for any groups you guys might have. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.